Join Haynes and Scotty live Friday from noon to 3 at Bar W Beef, the new state-of-the-art retail butcher shop supporting Utah farmers and ethical farming practices, all at supermarket prices. That's Bar W Beef, only in Nephi. Question up on Facebook and Twitter. It's getting a ton of reaction. Does Alex Jensen as Utah head coach with Andre Miller on the staff, does that do it for you? 18 likes, PK, in about less than about 45 minutes. Lloyd Money Mayweather. I'd start giving a bleep about Runnin Utes basketball again. Jason, that would be huge for the Utes. Jack, this is what Mark Harlan wants to hear. I will get season tickets if this happens.
Okay, yeah.
Jeff, 100%. The program needs a shot in the arm. Those two, they'd be the exact people to do it.
A lot of times money, big money is old money. And I think there'll be some older folks who've got the money who remember the good old days, probably rub shoulders with them, so to speak, and be willing to open up the wallets some more. So they might have some more money to be able to bring in talent. Which is, I think that's super important, obviously, because you're going back now, in Alex's terms, not too many kids were going to be able to see him play. Andre Miller, probably not in college, but definitely in the pros. It's not that long ago that he played, and tiring this thing out of the Suns worked so well for BYU. Why couldn't it work for Utah?
We actually have some comments about that. This is deja vu all over again.
Okay. I mean, if they've got a good idea and it works, who's to say you can't do it on your own? And you're getting one of your own, too. One of your own. Two of your own. You get both of those guys. And both of them were highly, highly successful. And they're winners, too. That's the thing about it, man. They're winners. They know what it takes to have winning basketball.
I think Jeff Johnson spoke for a lot of the people posting here when he said, we've tried a lot of other stuff and it hasn't worked, and we haven't tried this, so let's give this a shot. And also, not only is this the first time they've tried hiring someone with ties to the Majerus era, this could be the last time. Alex is pushing 50 now. How much longer are they going to wait to do something like this?
Oh, Majerus you're speaking of?
Yeah. Did they have a tie to the Majerus era? I mean, Johnny Bryant has a tie to the U. He's a younger guy, a decade younger, but he didn't play for Majerus in the glory years. He comes later.
If that singular thing is important, yeah, I get it. And then they can hire, Dillingham hired some high school coaches. They weren't high school coaches at the time, but they had been in the area. They had moved on to college coaching, but had high school experience. Well, you got Chris Jones right there.
Same deal, college experience.
Yeah.
Now he just had Highland in the state championship game.
Everybody knows who he is in the basketball world here locally. That's a fact. Jonesy. You just say Jonesy. Yep.
Yeah, you're only talking about one guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got contacts from Logan to St. George. There's no doubt about it. He's a lifer. He's a hoop lifer, and he's beloved. So I could see him getting a spot on the staff because they got so many staff positions, and if there's some guys out there who are good locally, Jonesy's had contact with them one way or the other. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. It's just a question of whether Alex wants it or not. And then we had Judd on, who said that Andre has been trying for 5-6 years to get it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would have happened last year. There was a lot of push for it, according to what I had heard. And so now you bring in as a fresh start. And it's not – you're not doing like what BYU did. They needed a buzz, and the buzz was Ty Detmer versus Kalani. I think Detmer was more the buzz. But football is different in that you are hiring a coordinator is from the offensive side and the head coach is coming from a defensive background, so that it's basically the offensive coordinator is the head coach of that unit. You have guys who focus on big men, small men, defense, offense in basketball, but it's not as clear cut. Plus, Andre has been coaching at a higher level for a few years. The Detmer thing didn't work. So be it. That doesn't ruin his legacy whatsoever. He's still a phenomenal player at BYU. He's still a phenomenal person, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work. So be it. I don't think you'd have that. Plus, you've got all these other people involved in your staff. And Alex has been coaching for so many years now that, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see who he would put on the staff that is in the college game and has the experience in the college game as it is now currently constructed. Jonesy has a ton of college experience, so you can see why he'd be a valuable member of the staff. And he's tied into the high school AAU scene, so that has its value. But, who has been in the last year or two as NIL has accelerated right in the middle of that?
I don't know that you need that because I don't think BYU had that.
They don't have
Chris Burgess.
Yeah.
But, he brought in guys who can get him players.
But you're right, Burgess had been in the middle of that. So you have somebody when that's a voice.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, the staff's so big.
We
don't have to think 3 assistant coaches anymore. I mean, you need your 3 assistant coaches, but you're going to have your GM.
Yeah,
your chief of staff or whatever other titles they come up with.
It's like the military. So they've got all that available to them. Yeah. He can fill out his staff. He fills out his staff with some NBA people. Then you sell that.
There'll certainly be some of that. But again, we're telling how big is the staff going to end up being. And behind the scenes, that's just a huge part of the equation. I think what you said earlier is really important. The big money, not always, you can start a tech company, as we found out, but the big money tends to be older money. And certainly the older money are going to be the people who remember Alex and have faith in him, maybe have a personal relationship, who knows, or feel like they do, which could be just as important.
Right.
And how big of checks do they write? Because the big staff takes the money, the NIL is going to require the cash. And as much as it is figure out who the person is and negotiate the deal, all this other stuff has to be worked out.
Maybe you can get Van Horn to come over, be on the staff.
Man. Okay, that's really putting the band back together. And Keith's been really off the radar.
For many years now.
Yeah, the social media. I mean, on a college football Saturday, he used to be great for 3 or 4 hilarious posts. Just sitting in the man cave watching a football game, remembering the old days, but that's all gone away. And he was running an AAU program of his own over there. He's really active
with girls basketball.
With girls basketball.
In Colorado.
Yeah, his kids were playing, and he was way into it, and there were teams, and there were posts about
anytime
scholarship
anybody
offers.
Who got a scholarship.
They got a scholarship offer.
He took personal pride.
And they won tournaments.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about it other than what I saw on social media.
Go Colorado School of the Mines.
Yep.
He celebrated it as if they were going to Texas or Yukon or South Carolina.
It didn't matter. Yeah. D1, D2.
Yeah.
High D1, low D1.
Right.
It was always a
cool
post.
to see. But he went away.
Yeah.
He decided he didn't want to do that anymore, at least socially. So I don't know if he would be interested. But you would get a buzz and then be able to hit the ground running in the manner that Kevin Young did. Kevin Young, they had a big thing. They got the BYU TV so they could blow that thing up and all that stuff. But they introduced him. The days of going to the Cougar Room and just
it was on the floor of the Marriott Center with a stage and a backdrop
and invited fans,
video board, invited fans flanking the media and up behind us as well.
Yeah,
TV lights everywhere. When we give you the microphone, please stand and introduce yourself.
And
please state your affiliation.
And
state your affiliation. Yeah,
it wasn't in the TV facility. It was at the Marriott Center.
It was.
So when Homo retired or announced his retirement, they did the same thing, but it was at the TV. So you had the fans behind you. You had us there. State your affiliation, and they broadcast it, and then they have your face right there and your name, blah, 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 because you're doing it for television. And as we know, I think, and that press conference started at noon East. So that was
noon Eastern.
It did, yeah. What?
Nice.
It did.
I know. It's a BYU TV joke. Everybody who's been here a long time gets it. What time do the Cougars kick off?
So they
At 11 Eastern. And don't make me do math. What time do they kick off?
So they broadcast that at noon East. I think the other one was at 8 East. And they made such a big deal about it. Well, Utah, man, don't let BYU get ahead of you. You're competing with them. You're competing with them for local talent. And now, gosh, worldwide talent.
As it has turned out, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the college game's been trending that way for a while. I mean, BYU lands a couple guys, and obviously Agor has a huge role. But hey, in the West Coast Conference, St. Mary's always had Australians.
I don't understand, in my mind, why anybody would put a limitation on them. If BYU can do it, Utah can do it. Now, maybe that's my bias, because when I first got here, I was covering them for the Watchdog, and they were dominant. Every place we went, sold out arenas, every place, man. Utah was coming to town, and it was a big, big deal. So, in my mind, they can get that back.
Get the money.
Get the money.
The thing about it, and the money is why people hesitate. And you don't want to say no because somebody can write a big check and boom, they're right there to the number. Now, how many people can do that, and will someone do that? We just don't have access to that kind of info. But when Kyle talks the way he talks, to me, it always sounds like they've got some of the money they need, but Kyle doesn't have as much of the money as he needs.
Well, everybody wants more.
True.
Because the team down the street, whether it's BYU or whomever, they're going to get more.
And right. And whatever you have now might be enough now, but what are you going to need in 2, 3, 4 years? And he's lost 3 starters. And it looks on the surface like money's been a big factor. Maybe the only factor, but certainly a big factor. He said it
himself.
He did.
Well, yeah. Why does a kid go to Alabama?
And to Arkansas. Who's going to Arkansas? Why?
Clinton. He's from Arkansas.
Okay, but why would a football player go?
I went to Arkansas.
Yes, you did. But now to get back to Utah football.
And the funny thing is, really, when you boil it down, I went to Arkansas for the money.
Grandma.
Yeah, my wife's grandmother had money.
Yeah.
That's why I went.
Jonesboro, hello.
I liked her, but she had money. So even me, me and Jaquin and Jackson, we both went to Arkansas for the money.
Finally.
Tanavasa, you could argue, he introduced the spiritual aspect. Maybe, and I don't discount that. I don't make light of it at all.
But maybe he got both. I mean,
well, according to Kyle, he did.
Comfort in that, yeah. And Kyle's like, it was money.
Oh, but he said it was a significant factor. And BYU people get all sensitive about that. Not that I don't know that the school does, but the fans do. Why?
It's the new world order. Like you want to root for the Dodgers or you want to root for the Rockies? And you want to root for the Dodgers or the Padres? If your team has money,
so what?
Yeah.
All those people in Eugene. How'd that happen? Well, we know how that happened. And so what?
And look where Oregon is and look where Oregon State is.
Good on them.
Now do you want to have money? Because Oregon and Oregon State were right side by side. And now one of them's in the Big Ten, and one of them's trying to put together something called the Pac-12.
It's not the coaching at Oregon, because you've gone through 20 of them here since Chip Kelly. Right?
It's been a blur.
Yeah. And maybe Lanning will be a legacy guy, but the others haven't been.
No, it's been about a decade of looking around, bouncing around.
Yeah.
That guy didn't work. That guy might have worked, but he left so quickly, I don't really know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, how long was Cristobal there? 2 seasons? I have to look it up.
And he was good.
2 seasons, yeah.
And the money built the program. All right. At a time where you need it more than ever. And we'll see what happens with the $20 million, how they figure that out. We're waiting to the end of the decade to have change in conference affiliation and landscape and all. But we're going to have change now, next year, the year after. We don't have to wait. Dramatic change, maybe earth-shaking type of change in 5 years, yeah. But we've got significant change coming down the pike in the next year or 2. So how's that going to be? And these guys, Alex Jensen and Andre Miller show up at your doorstep and you're a Ute booster with cash. Come on in, guys.
You're probably writing a check.
Yeah.
What's your Venmo? I'll send you some.
Right. You want to get – they look you in the eye. Hey, we all want to get back to the 90s. That was glorious. I was there every step of the way, and it was glorious. What a time to be alive and be a Ute basketball fan, no doubt. What a time to cover them. I'm so fortunate I got to cover them. And there you can say, here's what we need. They'll have a PowerPoint presentation. Here's what we need. We can't do it without it. Okay.
Utah man, bring back the Runnin Utes glory days. We back, baby! 2 exclamation points. That's the sentiment they're tapping into, and that's the sentiment that could open the bank accounts.
I may reapply at the Watchdog to be the beat guy.
I don't think that's going to happen.
If they're going to Final Fours,
so the glory days are back. PK's back on the beat.
Hello, Pat. Alex Jensen. That's how it. Hello, Pat. Rick Majerus.
On Christmas Day.
We may have had a time or two on that one, but if it rang at 12:45 a.m., I picked it. Hello, Pat. Rick Majerus. Every time. Yeah. Hi, Coach.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Spring football is here. What are we learning? That's next. Stay with us.